All right, so in this lesson, we're going to move on with factoring to the next level, which is where we're going to start factoring quadratic expressions. These ones are a little bit harder, but nothing that you can't handle. And I'm going to take you through it step by step. So let's do it. So in the last lesson, we learned that factoring is essentially the reverse of multiplying. So in this picture, we've got factors and we have the product. And notice that I didn't write polynomial because honestly, both of these could be polynomials. So we multiply the factors together in order to get the product. And when you have the product, you're going to factor it in order to get back to the factors. Okay, so we're focusing on this direction. All right, we did this in lesson 1 and earlier in the year. Now we're going this way. And I'm going to show you a couple different ways to do it. So both methods that I'm going to teach you, I taught you 2 different methods for multiplying. I'm going to teach you 2 different methods for factoring these types of quadratic expressions. Both of them ask the same question. And before I ask the question, we need to remember that the standard form of a quadratic expression, quadratic means it has x squared in it. The standard form is ax squared plus bx plus c. And a, b, and c are just numbers, okay? So the question that we have to ask ourselves when we're factoring these is, what 2 numbers multiply to c and add to b? Okay, so when we factor these, what we're actually going to be trying to figure out is what 2 numbers multiply to this and also add to this. And we'll talk about that a little bit more. I'm actually going to give you a calculator trick. So there'll be another video in this lesson which shows you how to do it using the calculator. But it's very basic. So this type of expression will break down into 2 factors that are binomials. So it's a binomial times a binomial is going to give me this trinomial. All right. Now, if you remember from double distribution, the first 2 things actually multiplied together to give you the x squared. So this is going to be x and x because that x times x gives you x squared. To get the rest of it, we have to figure out what 2 numbers multiply to positive 12 and add to positive 8. Well, 1 times 12 is 12, but that doesn't add to 8. 4 times 3 is 12, but that doesn't add to 8. 2 times 6 is 12, and that does add to 8. So what we're going to have here is we're going to have plus 2 and plus 6. And if you were to do double distribution on this, multiply it out, you're going to go right back to this guy. I'm also going to show you a method in the calculator to check, all right? Because these are quick and easy to check, and I'll give you a method for doing that. Now, let me also show you the area method. So just like we did kind of guess and check over here, like what 2 things multiply to 12 and add to 8, we can do the same thing over here using like a reverse area model. So we know that it's a binomial times a binomial. And we know now that this spot is going to be x squared and this spot is going to be negative 32. And I know that this plus this has to equal that. Because if you recall from the area method, these 2 things end up being combined. So you pull all 4 things out, and these 2 things end up in the middle, and they end up combining when we do the combine like term step. So whatever goes here and whatever goes here, they're going to add together to give me negative 4. All right, so what does that mean for us? I know that whatever's here and here has to multiply to x squared. So that kind of relates back over to here. So I know that this has to be an x and this has to be an x. And now what I want to do is I want to start putting things here and here that multiply to negative 32. So like, for example, I might do like, okay, how about negative 32 and positive 1? Well, that multiplies to negative 32, but that would give me negative 32x here and positive 1x here. And these two things do not add together to give me negative 4. So that didn't work. So I have to take this out and take this out and take this out and take this out and try again. Okay, how about this time? Let's go right to it so that because you get the idea here. So what if I put negative 8 here? What if I put negative 8 here and positive 4 here? That's going to give me negative 8x here and positive 4x here. So negative 8 and positive 4 multiply to negative 32, and negative 8x plus 4x adds to negative 4x. So I found it. All right. So that means I can write my final answer. My final answer for this one is going to be x minus 8 times x plus 4. You can use whichever method you want. I will tell you that it's obvious that this one takes up a lot less room and a lot less work, but it kind of takes more thought, whereas this one is sort of more visual. So I will encourage you, if you like this method better, you're probably going to want to try and move to this method as you get better at this, because this will help you be a lot faster when you're working on practice problems or quiz problems or whatever. So there's the basics. We'll practice this in class, and you also have an entire practice assignment to try and nail this down.